Hey there, it's Brooks. For almost a year now, each month I have created, sold, and shipped a package with multiple pieces of physical art merch in them. It's called Biko's Backpack, it's one of my Patreon tiers, and by the time this year is over, I'll have made about 50 pieces of art products altogether. Trading cards, stickers, hard enamel pins, prints, keychains, things like that. I thought I could walk you through that process, what it's like if you want to do the same thing yourself, and help with some insight and tips. I think especially in the age of digital art that can just fly by on your timeline, it's still really special to be able to hold a tangible version of your artwork or your favorite artists. So I'll walk you through a few things, and we can always revisit this topic in the future. So obviously this process starts with creating the work that you want to replicate or make into a product. For me, that's generally going to be digital art. Everything that I've been making is in Procreate on the iPad Pro. Just a few things that I'll use Photoshop for, but that's very infrequent and never actually for drawing. The only real advice here as far as when you make these things is that you should be aware of your resolution, which is the dots per inch. I like to try and work in a higher resolution that I'm actually going to make just in case. About 300 dpi is a good rule of thumb. If you're trying to make a 3-inch sticker and your document is a 3-inch 72 dpi document, your sticker's going to be really pixely. Another thing to keep in mind is that most printers want things to be in CMYK. That's a print color mode, and a lot of RGB colors aren't visible in CMYK. You also have to think about how things will look when printed or put on something. So a card is just a flat, opaque piece of cardboard. It doesn't have the same luminance boost that a screen does of being backlit. So be careful that you don't lose details by going too dark. My work for this month's Biko's Backpack looks like this, but I filmed a bunch of our process from last month's, so that's what you'll see for physical products and us fulfilling those. In addition to resolution and color, I find that it really helps to create for the product that you intend to make. That might sound too simple, but I've talked before about how with a card illustration, it really has helped me to draw with the card in mind, even in the dimensions of it, instead of just drawing random poses and things. And remember that most printed things have bleed and cut lines and safe areas, so be careful not to put anything close to the edge that you don't mind getting cut off or trimmed. So this is Tay's desk, where not only is she doing her writing and stuff, but also the shipment fulfilling for Biko's Backpack. She's got it kind of broken down really well here so that each of these is its own. There, I'll show you that. Everything that we've put out so far this year. So I'm putting together things for this coming month. Some things we make ourselves, and then some we order out. Then I'm opening this upside down to show our address. This is our Glangor trading card. Oh, nice. Turned out nice. We do a foil print over top. So that is an extra layer of work for these. And something that I like to do, I try not to touch these too much. We sleeve them pretty much immediately for the people that we ship them to, because trading cards in general, people like to have in mint condition, right? But I do like to sort of check through to make sure that the alignment on these is good. See here, let me do a side-by-side here. This one looks really nice. It might be a little bit subtle for some of you. See that this Glangor, the foil lines up with the white underneath it kind of perfectly. And then this one here, it's kind of just shifted off. So I try not to send anything like that out. I know it's a tough process for the printer to do, so I cut them some slack. I haven't necessarily complained about that, but I do set those aside when I can. I thought we could talk about pins, since these are a really fun thing that's become more accessible in the past little while. For these, you will likely need to find an overseas manufacturer, and you might have some trial and error finding a good one. I've known some people that inspect the pins that they get, and they have to set aside maybe 20% of them for defects. I haven't had to deal with anything that bad so far. There is a difference between hard enamel and soft enamel pins. So I have a soft enamel pin here. You can see that the color kind of comes up, it's flush there. The metallic and the color fill inside. But then here, it's probably tough to see on camera, right? Where it sort of pools inside that boundary, but it doesn't quite make it to the top. And so to me, I much prefer the look of the hard enamel. The soft enamel is going to be much cheaper, but I would much rather pay extra for the hard enamel look. In order to send these, we usually remove those pins there, and we'll print on a business card as a backer for the pin. Re-add those, and it's good to go. In this past month's backpack, we ended up including a bookmark to celebrate the launch of Tay's new book, and as a thank you for the warm reception to her videos, so we ended up printing those ourselves. We actually have a good relationship with Epson, who sent us a free printer from their new product line, the P700, to try out. And I have to say, not only does it output at a pro quality, I can print directly from my iPad, but it's kind of reframed my perspective on printing from home instead of using a service. So here's an example of something that I can do, right? Like the print somehow looks better than the digital version, and hopefully you can tell that on the video. But you can also do smaller print runs, you can print only the amount that you need to, and again, that idea of having something tangible. I'll say from my experience, I can remember like starting out printing images to decorate my little studio on a home printer, and there's all kinds of stripes and inconsistencies. And it's like, all right, but this is really a game changer. It kind of bridges the gap between home and pro, and I think for artists who are looking to fulfill their own print orders, this fits a niche where previously you only had those two choices at both ends. It's also one of the only printers available that outputs at this pro quality directly from the iPad, which, since I'm already working in Procreate pretty much exclusively, it just consolidates one more step of the process. I'll put a link down below for this so you can look into it for yourself and see if it fits your needs. We punched holes in these, and we bought a kit for hammering eyelets on the top and a bag of tassels for the bookmarks, and I think they turned out very charming. I'm kind of tickled that we did it ourselves. You know, we make all of these products, but like we assembled these by hand. One other mainstay in the backpack has been stickers. There are a few suppliers for these. We've had a lot of success with Sticker App. Just remember to make something that will have a good sturdy shape once it's cut out. I think when you draw for a sticker, you want to keep that cut shape in mind. And if you need to, make something that looks nice with that white or metallic outline. When we started this initiative at the beginning of 2020, my intention was to primarily offer these items through Patreon, and then any leftover stock, which I would order on purpose, we could sell at convention booths. And then of course we have not had any of that this year. In fact, one con that we paid for a table to just canceled and didn't offer a refund, which was pretty unfortunate. So my timing starting this was probably poor, but thankfully we've had a lot of fun with our virtual booth streams twice now this year, and during that period we just make everything available individually like you would at a convention. So we're making the most of it. A few closing thoughts on the reality of selling merch. Selling art products like this, I wouldn't discourage anyone from trying it out, seeing your stuff physically, or trying to make a nice little side business with it. However, just keep in mind how much it takes for this to be a source of full-time income. The amount of people who need to be seeing your work and converting over into being customers, especially repeat customers, needs to be substantial. So for me, I'm working with a fairly large YouTube channel and decently sized, small Instagram audience. So it's doing pretty well, but remember that in general, online, only 1 to 5% of people that follow you, as a rule, are going to buy something from you. If you have 100 people following you, a few friends and family that want to support you, you may only get 5 or so sales out of that, which is a great place to start out. Nothing wrong with it. I just don't want people to think that they'll be able to pay their rent month 1 with sales of things like this. Also, try to remember to make things that are not only what you want to make, but if you're trying to make a good product, you have to think about why someone would want this. If it's a sticker, it's giving them some kind of identity marker, right? It could go on their phone, their laptop, skateboard, hydro flask. Thinking about the end use can help. And it might be about a curated aesthetic. I think I've honed down pretty well a certain look and vibe for my work, and that's something that people want art of. Not everyone necessarily, but a certain niche of people. And if you're interested in doing a subscription package thing like me, please remember that I'm crazy. You do not have to do 4 products a month. It is a lot of work, and it might seem easy at first, but you have to keep that pace up. with every month. So that's just a little look into how we do things here, some thoughts on merch in general. If there's anything you want to hear more about in the future, let me know. And if you'd like to get Bigo's backpack for yourself, make sure to support at that tier over on Patreon. I'll also leave a link for more info on our Epson printer below if you're interested. I think especially for folks that are serious, this is a new avenue that we haven't really had available before, and it's pretty exciting. You can follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and Twitch at BagelDenizen, and of course my course, Learn Character Design, is a comprehensive character design curriculum over at learncharacterdesign.com. Thank you so much for watching, and have fun creating!